fire, fire for fire, fire.
Let's read it out loud. Yes, I am not old enough to have lived in this world, but I am old enough to have seen it. Here's how it worked. Everyone, man and woman alike, walked around with the baseline idea in their heads that when they came of age, they were going to get married. So pretty much everyone from the age 14 on up was passively on the lookout for partners until you settled on one you liked. I think everyone is still on the lookout for partners from that age because that's when your hormones start kicking in. The problem is culturally, women are told that they deserve the top 1% of men with no effort on their part right now. And men are told that they're not needed, like, period. And you throw in the mix of dating apps and nuking young people's expectations for their partners, and like the worst economy we've ever had since the Great Depression, higher levels of debt than anyone's ever seen, and really high, what is the statistic for like divorces, like 40 to 50% in the US? I don't know about other countries. Like the culture is pretty fricked. Yeah. Dating wasn't so pretty much everyone from the age of 15, dating wasn't a perennial state for an activity for its own sake. It was a purposeful vetting process, and it lasted only until you were satisfied you had a good choice. Hold on, oh, this is a picture. Man, I'm so dumb. I didn't scroll down. Hold on. Let me read it out loud. Literally just walk up to a cute girl in the park and make small talk. A month later, you're already married together and about to have children. Holy shit, did boomers really have it that easy? This scene blew my mind when I first saw it. I couldn't believe it as a Zoomer. Yeah, I honestly felt kind of the same way. I was like, this is like a fairy tale fantasy. So I was right. Yeah, like dating really does freaking suck nowadays. I genuinely thought this from the get-go. It sucked. It's a fairy tale. It's a movie. Yeah, but chat. My parents met in like university at like in the middle of their 20s. They're like 22, between 22 and 24. You can't even argue with statistics. People don't meet in college anymore. They just hook up. I don't think, if I asked my parents, was there a hookup culture when you were growing up, they probably tell me no. Yeah, my parents were that pretty much. Yeah, it's either through work or through college. Men and women don't even interact enough anymore. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I was kind of going off the kilter, freestyling. And it wasn't a hard choice to make because you couldn't throw a rock without hitting two suitable candidates. Almost no one was obese because food was made of food. And not industrial chemicals. Almost no one was covered in unsightly tattoos or pink hair dye either. Is he saying there was an abundance of men and women, or there's an abundance of mentally healthy men and women, chat? Because there's still a ton of men and women. Like, they're all just online right now, which in my opinion has destroyed like dating courtship, like normal courtship. A friend of a friend the other day was talking about how he's trying to meet girls on these dating apps, and he was like really annoyed because they want to text for like 2 weeks before meeting. And I remember them saying like, oh, he's like, fuck it, I don't have time for this. I don't want to text you for 2 weeks if I haven't even met you, because I don't know if you're even worth my time. Like, you should meet and see if there's a spark and then text, not like do this texting thing and like waste everyone's time. I think that's super cringe, doing the whole like back and forth. You can't really get to know each other just through texting. You can't. You physically can't. What if something they do just annoys me from the get-go? A lot of the chemistry people feel, or even not chemistry, like the disillusionment or the dislike they feel is literally at first glance. I think what the scientific study of men and women looking at each other, they can assess each other within like 5 seconds or something. Yeah. What if they eat their boogers? You won't know through texting. I mean, yeah. I'm sure my parents like had, you know, suitable people that they met, and then they met each other and they were like, oh, I like you, you know? They were compatible, but they had to like, you know, go through the hoops of meeting. People don't do that anymore. And I think like the probability, so you take away the probability of meeting, and that goes down like substantially, and the statistic becomes extremely skewed because you're not meeting in person. Pheromones play a big role in attraction. You don't get that over text. Is that a real thing? I always thought it was like mumbo jumbo. Like pheromones. It is. Oh. Yeah, I think I read a thing a long time ago is that one of the ways that people avoid like incestuous or like genetic like if you have similarities in your genetics that are too close, you smell unattractive to them. Yeah, that's how you avoid inbreeding or some shit. Almost everyone had compatible goals because they were almost always the same. Happy home, modest prosperity, reasonable amount of kids. Almost everyone had compatible values because culture hadn't been demolished. That's still everyone's goal, I think. It's just an impossible goal because corporate America made it impossible to buy a house or afford children. Like, how many of you, even if you got a partner, like you could snap your fingers, you get a partner, would you still have kids? One, you would still have kids. Two, you'd be like, I can't afford it right now. Like, I just can't. Sorry. Like, I still love you, but 1 1 2 2 2 1 1 1 2 2 2. It's actually pretty split. It's like 50-50, maybe like a little bit leaning towards no. 20 years ago, it'd all be ones. Well, we're assuming that the highest chat, to put it in perspective, it's kind of if you are 20 to 34, which is the biggest demographic according to my YouTube statistics, if you were between 25 and 34 20 years ago, that was like plenty of money to like sustain one child. Like, you'd be okay. Even if you worked like an average job 20 years ago. No, it wouldn't. Yes, it would. Shut up. Yes, it fucking would. One child? One? I'm not talking like popping out 4 kids in one go. One child? Between 25 and 34, on average, I genuinely, if I went through the statistics, it would have been fine. The average American needs to make $120,000 just to be able to own a home. Yeah, and renting is insanely expensive. If you want a kid, you need to have them like have their own room. You have to have an extra room. You have to have extra groceries. You have to buy them supplies and everything. Like, no, man. I'd rather adopt them. But like, that's still money. You have to pay for adoption as well, too. The 30s are the new 18s these days, apparently. I've read somewhere that for women, the new 24 to 26 bracket, where women gave birth a lot of the time 20 years ago. My mom had my brother at 23 or 24, which is the average. That's like the dead ass average 20 years ago. Now it's shifting towards 28 to 34 for women. That's a massive increase. That's almost like 10 years. And that's insane. That's insane to think about. They don't want to grow up. I don't think it's about growing up, man, but okay. I literally just explained it's not about growing up. It's about not being able to afford and relationships. Yeah, that definitely was kind of a boomer thing to say, but I mean, that's your opinion. I can't convince you otherwise. I've stated all the facts. Risk of having children, a child with developmental disabilities increases the age of the mother and the father significantly. I think that becomes a problem after you're about 34 to 35 onward, not when you're like 28 to 32. Yeah. I'm 30. I've dated these women. I'm not talking about... Okay, never mind. I'm gonna get into off in the weeds. I'm getting one guide right now. Anyway. Almost everyone was a good choice. Questionable, but sure. Okay, that's your opinion. Because sex roles hadn't been demolished. Husband and wife were jobs with clearly defined responsibilities. Everyone knew the specific tasks. 1, 2, 3 to be a good one. I agree to an extent. I think an important note is, again, yes, women have been girl bossing for the last 20 years, and their traditional role in the household was changed. So being a housewife isn't the standard anymore. However, even if culture hadn't shifted in that direction, you'd be hard pressed to survive as a family on one income in 2025. Like, the man has to pick up like 2-3 jobs to sustain themselves. Like, on an average, like, in family, like, average bracket, people will argue with me and say, oh, it's feminism. It's like girls girl bossing too close to the sun. But on the other hand, our economy has absolutely been demolished in terms of like minimum wage not increasing, houses not being able to be affordable, mortgages, like all of that combined. I think even if we stayed in the traditional mindset of like, oh honey, I'm gonna stay at home, blah 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 blah, you can't really afford that. You can't. I remember in 2008, my parents had to like sit down with me as a talk and be like, okay, mommy's not gonna be home much anymore, like that much, because she has to go and get a job, or like she has to get a part-time job now to like help with the bills. 2008 sucked for all, like a lot of kids, or even kids like that were teenagers growing up. They had to be key kids or whatever they're called when they come home and they had to open the key. It's horrible. And those responsibilities were carefully designed over many generations of trial and error to be what made your partner actually like you. Not a coincidence. So choosing a wife or husband wasn't like sifting through sewage, trying to find discarded coins. It was like choosing from a restaurant menu designed to be by a competent chef, and pretty much anything you order is going to be satisfying, so as long as you avoid one or two options you don't personally like. Life wasn't easy. The past had other problems like polio and communists. I still think we have communists, but okay. A little bit out of left field. But there was a plan. If you followed it with a little luck, you'd be okay. What happened? The 19th Amendment. No, I'm kidding. Kick W, haha, lol W. No, for serious, yeah, I don't know. Maybe boomers destroyed everything. Maybe they didn't. I put a lot of blame, I always say this, I put a lot of blame on social media. I think social media gave a very, 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 very loud voice to fucking retards, and they've been screaming ever since. And then bleeding heart women get mad at you for telling them they're wrong. We used to bully people that said dumb shit that worked for thousands of years, but now in 2025, people unironically defending pedophiles on Reddit and Blue Sky. Like, social media was a mistake. Truly, no, I genuinely believe that. I think for all the good that social media has brought, like bringing people together, letting people talk, international talking, like I understand that, but I think if the internet went away tomorrow, I think we would be in a better place. I think first of all there would be riots in the street, people would be really upset, but after a few months, I think we'd be okay. There might be a little bit of a, you know, hubbub, a little bit of chaos, but maybe some rioting, but you'd be out of a job. I've said this before. I would take the L, chat. VTubers were a mistake. It's why birth rates are going down. No, this is just a symptom of a disease. This is not the reason. The disease itself is social media and technology, but VTubers are a symptom of that. I don't know if you were being sarcastic, but I just wanted to be real. Wow, she hates us? No, I don't hate you. Okay, I don't hate you, chat. I genuinely don't, but I would take the L and have you be happier. It's like if I die for your sins kind of moment, you know? Like if I die, that's okay. If you can be happier, that would be great, you know? You are wishing us God. Gone? You aren't Jesus? I never said I was Jesus. I'm just saying. I would never say that. That's blasphemous. I'll save you from yourself. Excuse me. Lots of yapping. But yeah, all in all, yeah, this shit kind of blew my mind as well. 101 Dalmatians meeting at the park with 2 dogs and being like, oh my god, we have the same dogs, we should get married and have babies. Oh, another whole math post. Oh, it's a response. Okay. This is a response to the original post. Let's read it. Perfect summary. I remember when the world was like this too. I assumed I would live like this when I grew up, and instead I ran into buckets full of absolutely untenable partners. I thought it was a coincidence, or maybe it was just me. I was attracting the bad ones, but after 3 or 4 girls who told me sometime into dating that she just naturally assumed we would have an open relationship because of this current year, I knew something was wrong quite a bit deeper than my personal circumstances. This seems so unfathomable to me. I can't imagine saying this. Did you finish the last 3 paragraphs? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't think I did, actually. Let me finish this before I go back. What happened? Boomers in their crusade to tear down the entire past, resent to year 0, reset, I think, and reinvent culture. That's what happened. Now we are all fat, sick, ugly humans, aren't breeding, and we're constantly bickering over nuclear grade political distrust, so safe to say the boomers dropped the ball on that one. Why they thought this was a good idea is a topic for another day. Okay, valid statement. Yeah, I apologize again. My ADHD is pretty bad. Let me go back to this. Homass says, I remember a few years ago, a guy I had known for a while spontaneously started explaining to me how he is learning and growing because the woman he was in love with was using him as a beta bucks emotion sponge. I couldn't say that, I'm sorry. While she was getting situationshipped by the guy she really wanted, who didn't want her back. I didn't ask about any of this. He just used me as a sounding board to construct a rationalization for the only attention I can get is from someone who's using me as a mop. I still can't believe there are people who don't understand how far everything has fallen. That's really disillusioning to me, because when I was growing up, I never had that kind of impression as a young girl. That's really sad. I've never thought about like using men as an emotional sponge, like trauma dumping while you're like talking to another guy. I just felt that that's kind of icky. If you're going to commit or at least talk to someone and be emotional, you shouldn't be talking to someone else at the same time. Is this post not clarity shitposting? I don't think that's shitposting. I think this person's being genuine. You having a brother may have helped with that. Yes and no, because when my brother's a bit older than me, so like we don't grow up in the same like aging bracket. Like he was a bit older than me, so when I was about 15, he was already dating like quite a lot of women, and I only started realizing that he was having trouble with women after like the 5th or 6th girl that he was trying to date, where he was just like my brother never complained to me directly, but sometimes he'd just like come to be like, I don't get it. What am I doing wrong? Like, I'm a fit guy. I'm 5'9", and I don't get what I'm doing wrong, and I have a pretty decent job. Is it me? And I'd always have no answer because I'm younger than him. The fact that he came to me was a little bit troubling, because it's like, I don't have an answer. I'm a young kid. Like, I don't get it. They don't understand this because it's normal to them. Dating apps and situationships are not getting married, and if you do, it's just for financial gain. That's normal to people born after 2005. Really? 5'9" is not short. 5'9" in shoes. but for women, for some women, 5'9" isn't tall enough, and my brother always struggled with that. That's what's really annoying to hear. But anyway, this isn't about my brother. I'm just trying to explain that I didn't understand this was a problem until maybe like 3-4 years ago, when I experienced it for a little bit. I'm 5'8", isn't over for me. My brother's 5'8" as well. I'm just saying, I just don't understand nitpicking like that. I'm 6 foot and I feel short. What? That's so weird. Why? 6 foot's a little bit above average. Don't say that. Anyway. I'm not a man, but I have relatives that are men, and my brother, obviously, so I can kind of understand the perspective, but recently I've only started hearing it through like online discourse that men are really experiencing a turning point where women are bad. And for a while I thought it was kind of a half-hearted joke, chat. I'm not even joking. I thought that the whole woman bad thing like 5 years ago was like a meme, but I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to get it. I'm like, damn. Some girls out there are just cruel. It don't matter if you got money. Yeah, but you can't get money if the economy's fucked. You picking up what I'm putting down? I'm 6'1" and women consider me short. Shut your face. Get out. Close the door. No shot. 6'1" and you're considered short? I'm 5'6". For me, if you're a little bit taller than me, like, that's fine. Like, I don't care. It's not like a deal breaker or anything. Long story short, boomers ruined everything, huh? Yet again. Yeah. I'm 5'10" and I've been told I'm too short because I'm not specifically above 6 foot. That's so dumb. Very dumb, very delusional, and maybe next time if someone says, oh, you're 5'10", you're not 6 foot, you should ask them, hey, how much do you weigh? That's what I would say. If I was a dude and they were treating me like that and we weren't like in an actual relationship, I'd be like, okay, stand on this scale right here. If it's over like 150, I might reconsider. I'm joking, by the way. Like 150 is fine, but like I'm just saying. Like, ask what's their BMI. Yeah, I don't get it. I did that once and got called a pick-me. You're not a pick-me. I get called a pick-me too, and I'm not, chat. I'm realistic. I don't know what to say. Women that are not like 5'2", not wanting guys who are under 6 feet is just stupid. Like 5'10" still tower over you. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand having a preference on like, oh, I want him to be a little bit taller than me. But like, oh, you're already towering over them. What's the point? Like, if you, like an inch or two, like what? Do you think that it's okay to be under 6 foot as long as your pee-pee is 1 inch longer than 6 inches for every inch under 6 foot? No, chat. Chat, there's a fun fact out there. Women don't need, like, coochies are built in a certain way where if you're above 3.5 to 3 inches, you don't need any more than that. Anything past that can become uncomfortable depending on how much. Like, that's physiology. Yeah, like, that you literally don't need more than that. If a woman's like, oh, I need like 12 inches, it's like, no, you don't. You're actually kind of fucked in the head. 5'4" with a 10-inch dog. Shut your mouth. Chatter. When multiple women have explained that at 6 inches it starts to get uncomfy. Yeah, like, I'm just saying, like, it's statistically proven and scientifically proven that a coochie is built in a certain way. If you want more than a certain number, I feel like you're just being a vain egoist and you're being weird. I get women wanting a guy that's taller than them. That's fine, it makes sense. But wanting a guy that's 6 foot when you're 5'6" is like wanting a PC to play Halo 2, but you won't settle for anything without a 4090. That's actually a really good analogy. Yeah, why are you buying a tow truck when you live in the city and you can't tow anything? Like, what's the point? You're not gonna tow anything, why do you need it? Like, if you're a farm girl, yeah, sure, I get it, but... It depends on a woman, I think. That's why you kind of have to be compatible in bed. No, chat. I don't know what kind of warped perception you have of women thinking that they want, like, 12-inch penises. But if a girl says that to you unironically, you need to, like, explain to them that... You need help. Like, you're probably like kind of a sex addict or something. It's porn brain rot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have a warped perception and a warped understanding of what sex is meant to be. Ultimately, it is a reproductive thing. It is influenced by hormones. People forget that sex isn't meant to be like this ultimate instant gratification all the time, like gooning and porking all the time. It's a reproductive act from evolutionary traits. If hormones didn't exist, you wouldn't want to have sex. That's how it is. It's like eating and drinking. Well, maybe not drinking, but eating definitely is triggered by hormones. Sex is triggered by hormones. When you get older, you start losing those hormones. That's why old people don't really have sex, because they don't have a sex drive. And why does it feel so good? Because you're built like that. Yeah. It's supposed to be intimate, and now it's a hobby. That definitely hasn't had negative consequences for society. No, it hasn't. No. I definitely think we've swung a little bit too far. Retirement homes are freaky as fuck. The boomers banging on every surface 24/7. Okay, hold on. Hear me out. If you lock a bunch of men and women in the same like area, like imagine if all your apartments, like you live in an apartment section and people can come visit you and you can become friends. If you were at age 20, you would probably be banging way more than the old people. Like, statistically speaking, I understand what you're trying to say, but if you make them age down, it's way worse comparatively. Yeah, like college dorms or university housing. Yeah, that's why my parents were like against the whole college dorm thing. I didn't realize it, but like my parents were like trying to like hold me off. I was like, I want to live closer to campus, because like I had to take 2.5 hour drives on the bus, and I would get really car sick because I tried to study on the bus, and I begged my parents to like get me closer to the college, and they said no, and they vehemently said no, and ultimately I was like, okay, fine, I give up. And anyway, my parents eventually said like, yeah, it's not a good idea. We saw what happened to your brother, and not that my brother was like a sex pest or anything, but he told us stories of people being sex pests in college. Yeah, it made him really uncomfortable, so he told my parents like when I was growing up, it's not a good idea. And we went to the same university as well, so like he knew. Yeah, that's college in general. Probably a good thing. I just played video games and studied. Anyway, sorry. It's funny how some women think that 6 foot is the minimum standard, and only about 14.5% of men in the US are 6 foot or more. That's not to mention the age range. You're completely right though. I don't understand that at all. If you're a bit taller than me, it's like an innate urge to be defended as a woman, to have someone bigger and larger than you protecting you. I understand the desire, but ultimately you don't need to compensate that much. That was a good yap sesh. I appreciate that, chat.
Fire, 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 fire.